if your focus is money, that's all you'll ever have.
Yeah.
If your focus is helping people, I promise you, the money will always be there. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a day trader. I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
I was homeless.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy, man.
But from just a shift in mentality, I was able to create a beautiful life. Like, I'm getting married.
Yeah. Welcome to the Limo Talk, man.
You got the greatest.
Pretty cool.
One of the greatest beards that has ever been in the
One of the greatest.
It is quite shapely, I'll say that.
I like to think I'm a stickler for lines.
I can tell.
You got the
form.
geometry.
Yeah.
You do it all yourself? You have a barber?
Oh, I have a barber.
Nice.
There you
I have a
go.
barber. Whenever it gets a little out, I do it myself, but I don't trust myself.
Oh,
that
yeah.
much.
So all the lines, that's barber.
That's barber.
done. That's
Barber
awesome.
approved.
Yeah, that's
Barber
good, dude.
approved.
I love
That's freaking dope, man.
well, tell us kind of about yourself, man. Tell us about, give us a quick background, what you're into, what you do, then we'll ask you the big question.
Perfect. Yeah. So the easiest way to segue into this, I guess, I have 2 birthdays next month. And everyone's like, wow,
Dude,
we're
that's
born on a leap year? What's up with that? No.
There you go.
So I have 2 birthdays. I'm going to be turning 30 August 3rd.
Nice. Very cool.
I know.
Congrats.
30.
The big 3-0,
That's a whole
man.
different
Yeah,
conversation.
that's right.
Different Limo Talk, yeah.
And then my next birthday is August 28th. I will have 5 years sober.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
man.
5 years sober.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
And to lead into your other question, so around 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago, I was homeless in LA.
Wow.
Living on 7th and Los Angeles Street, addicted to all the gnarly drugs you guys can think of. Yeah.
Wow.
And went from that to I finally was able to ask for help, and I went to rehab, and my parents were like, we're sending you to Utah, and I'm like, where's Utah?
Where is that on the map?
I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
And I came out here and I fell in love with this place.
The desert, man. You're a desert guy.
I love the cold.
Okay.
So my family's a big portion of them are from Russia, so I got
Oh, really?
Siberian.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. I love
the cold. It's very difficult because my fiance, she hates it.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
always
Polar
battling over
opposites,
the
huh?
thermostat
I'm
and all
there
that.
with you. Yeah.
And then I fell in love with this place, and through that love, I actually started my own business. I'm an accredited interventionist.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And so I help other people get into treatment, youth transport. So I help anyone under the age of 18.
Yeah.
I escort them to treatment and help their families find different treatment centers that are appropriate for them, things like that. And then that's pretty much my average day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, that's awesome.
So how did you come up with that business idea?
So the business, it's been around forever, and honestly, one of my first jobs here, a friend of mine was starting a startup company, and he met me when I was in rehab. He had a family member who was in rehab with me, and he heard how I used to steal, rob, and
Oh
do some crazy stuff, and he's like, "Do you want a job?" And I'm like, "What? You're sick,
I should be
bro."
flattered.
Yeah,
man.
That was insane that he gave me a job, but from there I was at this
Did you accept?
Oh, of course I did. I had no prospects.
You're like, I gotta do something, man.
You couldn't put things that I was doing on a resume, so I had no prospects, nothing, but he gave me a chance, and I went from the lowest of the totem pole to where I was there for 4 years, and I'd become the head of retention there.
Oh my goodness.
And the only way I can accredit, I've never finished college, I have nothing.
Yeah.
The only way I credit to that was my new perception of life, to where I was going to serve God's kids.
Yeah.
And however they look, serve my employer, serve my neighbor.
Yeah.
And because of that, I would show up 20 minutes early, leave 20 minutes late. I would always ask the boss, how can I help you? What do you need?
Yeah.
And there was people there who were much more educated than I was.
Yeah.
But because of my outlook on life and my perception of it, I was able to stick around there for a long time and
That's awesome.
be there for a while. From there, a treatment center approached me and wanted me to become a marketer, and they offered me this amazing position and all this stuff. So I said, I put in my 2 weeks notice there, and we left amicably.
Were they sad? You're heading out?
Yeah, I believe they were, but at the same time, they knew where my passions were, so they were like,
Sure.
"Oh, we get it."
Yeah.
And And I went to work at that treatment center, and within 3 weeks, I hit a deer in my car, totaled it.
No way.
And then the treatment center said,
You totaled the deer?
Yeah, I totaled the deer and
sucks,
my
man.
car.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And then the treatment center was like, oh, we'll give you the company car, no worries. So I canceled my health insurance because treatment center was going to give me health insurance.
Yeah.
They got your back.
I got engaged, so I dropped a lot of money on a ring.
Yeah.
And in 3 weeks, that treatment center laid me off.
No way, dude.
Yeah, bro.
That is so you literally upended everything, and then it just
Upended, and so within a matter of 3 weeks, and then they took everything immediately. So I had no car, no health insurance, just dropped a bunch of money, and I own 2 houses, so I have 2 mortgages, right?
Yeah.
So in this moment, I'm like shell shocked.
Yeah.
I'm like,
highly
what-
motivated all of a sudden, man.
Motivation was gone.
Oh, really?
It
You
was
were
just-
zapped.
I was just zapped, and I'm like, what do I do? And then, I'm a big fan of prayer, meditation, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? Things are going to work out. I'm going to do everything I normally do. And that's actually, I also got into day trading during that time. Started doing a lot of research and just self-homework and stuff like that. But then my buddy, who was an interventionist, and we called them sober companions, he was like, hey man, I started this company, and do you want to do this with me until you find another job? And I said, yeah, sure. I did it, and I was very good at it. And so he's like, you know what, get your credits, get your accreditation, and we'll do this together. And so I did that. We started our own company.
Wow.
And boom, that's how.
Now, what's it called?
So it's called Sobriety Wellness Services. So we do everything I said before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
intervention, sober companionship, where we essentially live with someone who, because there's a lot of people out there who don't want to go to rehab.
Yeah.
Like people who they own companies, they don't have time to go to rehab. They need to be by their phones and computers.
Yeah.
So we'll literally go to work with them.
Wow.
And we'll stand by their side and make sure they're not tempted or not around alcohol, or if they are, we come up with a clever excuse of why they can't drink, and we just lie to people and say, oh, we're their assistants.
Yeah.
We don't openly tell them he has a drinking problem.
Yeah. Sensitive stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then so that's kind of how it went from there.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
That's quite the journey.
So how do you get like let's ask the question. How do you make money? How does that make money? Who's paying for it? Does the government pay?
So unfortunately right now we're not recognized by insurances, which we're in the process of changing. So everything is cash pay.
It's totally private.
Yeah, it's totally private, cash pay. And we work on a sliding scale. So most interventionists, most sober companionships, they cost a lot of money. Like we're talking, I think one of our competitors was like $3,000 a day.
Wow, dude.
$3,000 a day. So we charge half that. Just because, and we also work on a sliding scale.
Yeah.
And because of that, we do a lot of pro bono work.
Yeah.
We do free interventions whenever we're able to.
Sure.
Just because I didn't get in this for the money.
Yeah.
But the money has to be there to some degree.
Exactly. No. Yeah, exactly. One of my, I guess you call them like gurus, was if your focus is money, that's all you'll ever have.
Yeah.
If your focus is helping people, I promise you, the money will always be there, but then you'll have a much more fulfillment. Because I mean, honestly, 6 years ago, I was homeless.
Yeah.
Homeless.
Now you're in beautiful vineyard.
Beautiful vineyard. I have another house in Orem right over here, and I rent that out to people who are straight out of prison.
Wow, dude.
Because no one wants to rent to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny too. Here's a little thing. You rent out to people who are straight from prison who want to better themselves, they will keep your house spotless.
Really?
Wow, that's really cool.
Because that's all they did.
Right.
And they
that's true.
No,
that's just clean.
Well, no, and also like the people who are really trying to better themselves, they're just so grateful.
Yeah.
So people who are in prison, who are homeless and stuff like that, and if they want they have honest determination to better themselves, like I'm all for them. I'm gonna help them. Yeah.
So it's okay if you don't want to answer this. I'm curious, almost like
I'm a pretty open book here.
All right.
So I don't know if you picked that up or not.
Give me a couple minutes of almost like the path to homelessness. Like I'm almost confused. How do you get there? I'm just curious. Yeah.
Here
how
we
do you
go.
get there?
Yeah.
What are the major steps?
So my story is, It happens so much, and people, because here's the thing, I'm from Santa Barbara, California.
Okay.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
It's where the rich people go to pretend they're normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Rosie O'Donnell has a house there. Like my family, like I come from a beautiful family.
Yeah.
Like my mom's a gynecologist, right? So she had to go to a lot of school for that. My dad's a sales consultant. I come from an above average family.
Yeah.
But my entire life, I don't know what it was, I always just felt like there was something missing.
Yeah.
Like I was always, and this is just self-perception. Like it doesn't even mean it was reality. Self-perception of just there was something missing. I was always angry. And then I found drugs, right? And I was like, oh, this is it. Like this is the thing that makes me feel normal.
Yeah.
And from that, I kept going down that rabbit hole till eventually, like I made the conscious decision to move to LA to be closer to drugs.
Really?
I made the decision to move from the suburbs of Santa Barbara, California, to downtown Los Angeles.
Right.
So I didn't have to make that commute anymore.
Yeah.
Like that is insane thinking.
Sure.
No one says that. So I mean, this is probably a 5-hour long conversation, but in a nutshell, it stemmed from. Have you ever felt like you could never take a deep breath?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Drugs offered me that, where I could finally, when I did any type of drug, I finally just felt like I could take that full deep breath.
Yeah.
And I wanted to chase that rabbit hole. But then the insane part was, because I've tried to get sober numerous times before this bout, right?
Sure.
And I would get off it, and that feeling of tight-chestedness would come right back.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know how to live, I don't know how to die, I don't know what I'm doing. I just felt trapped until finally, like, I tried something completely different, which is what Sobriety Wellness Services offers our experience on. Not only to getting sober, in my opinion, is kind of easy.
Yeah.
Because anyone can get sober for little periods of time.
Sure.
It's the long term.
It's the maintaining of sobriety, not even maintaining, but building a life around you to where I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a day trader, I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
I was homeless.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, that's crazy, man.
I had no prospects whatsoever. Family didn't want to talk to me. No one helped me. But from just a shift in mentality, I was able to create a beautiful life. Like I'm getting married.
Yeah. Congrats, man.
Someone
awesome,
wants to marry me.
Yeah.
If they knew me 6 years ago, oh man, like I don't even want to paint a picture of what I looked like back then because it was just so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so if you fast forward to today, I'm curious, like, what's been the big shift? Have you gotten past the constricted feeling?
Oh yeah.
You know
that left
and
quickly.
how did you get there, man?
It's gonna sound really corny, but prayer and meditation.
Well, that's not corny at all. It's fine.
Well, no, just because through that meditation, I was able to slow my thinking, shift my perception, and push it towards something that was more productive than because I was getting so wrapped up in the fear and the anxiety of like, well, I'm already a failure, why try?
Sure.
My life already sucks. Like
a little bit of purpose goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and if it sounds like you have more than enough purpose, like you have purpose to share, right?
And that's what I love to do. That's why I love to do these interviews. I got another podcast after this that I'm doing just because
that's awesome, man.
If I can just and people already have their perceptions of drug addicts and alcoholics.
Sure.
So if I can change that to be like, oh, these people can do some pretty cool stuff if just given the chance.
Yeah.
And that's what I love to talk about.
So what can people are watching this. This is their real first exposure to this kind of thing. What can they do?
How can they help?
Like what can somebody who hasn't really encountered a lot of this? What can they do to help people that need help?
Watch podcasts. If you have a loved one or a family member who struggles with something, or even if you don't, you're more than happy to reach out to me or someone on my team and just ask as many questions as you want. I'll take you out to lunch.
Yeah, sure.
And just like that, because that's what's going to shift it.
Totally.
I'm more than happy to give anyone a chance as long as they're willing to use that chance.
Totally.
Because for me, I went through 6 rehabs.
Holy cow, man.
6.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But then finally, it was that shift in perception that made the change.
That's awesome. That's pretty wild. So tell us a little bit about the day trading stuff. So I've seen the buzz, and honestly, maybe you should tell us a little bit about what it is, and then
for people who have never heard of that.
I've never invested that way, but I hear amazing things about it.
So day trading, I'm still doing my research. I am not a Warren Buffett. And I noticed you guys in one of your other podcasts, you had the investor for Nikola, right?
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Jimmy Rex.
Yeah. And then you have me on. What are you guys doing? But day trading, I've been so interested in it just because, I love the aspect of learning about new and upcoming companies, especially with, what's going on, COVID and everything like that. Yeah. With everything going on, I've been finding a lot of research about companies that are on the verge of a vaccine or, deployment efforts, because there's so many different things. You got one company that's working on the vaccine. You got another company that's working on, all right, how would you deploy them within the United States, globally, or things like that. And there's so many different aspects to that. And then day trading, what you're doing is essentially just, swinging.
Yeah.
So you're investing in a company, you're buying really low, and then it shoots up and you sell it, and you just rinse, wash, repeat. And that is the very simple term.
Right. That's the basic version.
Very basic thing right there.
Yeah.
So, but I love, basically I just love, I love making money.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
It's kind of a game, isn't it?
It really is. It's a game that, it's like poker.
Yeah.
The more skill you have, the more knowledge you have. Because I don't just throw money in there and just let's see what happens, I'm doing tons of research.
Yeah.
Like most of my day, I only do 2 or 3 day trades a day.
Okay, keep it simple.
Yeah, I keep it really small. Before that, I'm up at 4 in the morning, looking at the markets, doing research, all these different forums, Googling different crap, Forbes. I'm just doing as much research as possible so I can get in when I need to get in, and then I have an exit strategy and go from there.
So the exit from the start.
Oh, yeah. Never get greedy.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends always said, and I'm going to butcher this saying, but he said, bears make money, bulls make money, pigs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
So it's have your strategy no matter what. If you're a bear, you're a bull, long, short, day, whatever. Have your strategy, stick to it, don't get greedy.
Yeah.
Now, do you recommend people jump into day trading? Where do they start?
No.
What comes before that? Because you've leveled up here,
Research, and never invest money unless you're doing a long-term investment that you're all right, this is my kid's retirement fund.
Yeah, you got a 15-year time frame.
Yeah, and it's I've looked at it, it's never gone below this point over the past year, 5-year mark or whatever, and I can just see a steady uptrend for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, steady, make some money for when the kid wants to go to college or something. That's fine. Again, do your research.
Yeah.
But there was a story that Robinhood let out, right? You guys know what Robinhood is? Yeah. Robinhood, there was a kid who got into options trading.
Oh gosh, I heard about this on.
Did you?
This is freaking
horrible.
It's pretty sad too.
And I have no idea how to trade options, so I stay away from it.
I know, yeah.
Right? This kid leveraged, and I'm going to butcher the story, he leveraged a lot in contracts, right? Yeah. To the point where his contracts expired, he didn't make his mark, he didn't make his break even, and he looked at his Robinhood account and he had $750,000 he owed to Robinhood. And he ended up committing suicide.
Right. That's super sad.
Yeah.
You just wonder, and I don't even know if he was fully on the hook or whatever the case was.
I have no idea, because I have no idea how options work, so I just stay away.
But he probably had options to but he took what he thought was the easy way out.
Yeah.
And he was a young kid too. He's 20.
Well, no, and that's what going back to our other thing, mental health and addiction.
Yeah.
I think I have no options, because right now, especially with everything going on, suicide's on the rise, drug abuse and everything is on the rise, and it all goes back to, I think the problem is insurmountable, and the problem is 95% in my head.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I had friends who were homeless who were the happiest I've ever met in my life. Who were just I got my dog, I got food, I got a little bit of money, I get, Social Security or whatever it was, and I even have a job, and I sleep in my van. And I had a buddy who had a job, had a van, and he had a gym membership. And that's all he needed.
Didn't need anything else.
No, he would go to the gym in the morning to shower and get ready for his job.
Yep.
And he lived like that from close to, I think, a couple of years.
Yeah.
Saved up, bought an apartment.
You know, this is kind of an interesting subject. Like,
Yeah.
I have a really wealthy friend, and
Yeah.
and the guy just, he keeps going, and you know, making millions a year.
Cool.
And never satisfied. Right?
Yeah.
And just keeps wanting to keep on. Now, there's nothing wrong with ambition.
No.
But, and I'll never stifle that. But like, when is enough? Like, when is enough ever enough? Like, you talk about your friend here who just, he simplified and dumbed down his life to the core essentials, and he was happy, right? And that's not to say like chasing money can't make you happy.
No.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with it.
Balance?
But where's the balance?
That's
man?
a personal preference.
Yeah.
Because Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yeah.
He always says, like, what makes you happy? If what makes you happy is spending 20 hours a week with your kids, working 80 hours a week, and that's the thing that makes you happy, there you go, you won.
Yeah.
But if it's not making you happy, you have to decide. Do you want more time with your kids, more times at work?
Yeah.
Do you want to make $1 billion? And if so, are you ready to put in the hours and effort to make the $1 billion? Because what that consists of is never seeing your family.
The cost of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, what do you want? A, what do you want? B, is your goal obtainable? And C, what are the micros that you're doing to, you know, get towards your goal?
Sure.
Because for me, like, I didn't know how to pay taxes.
We pay professionals.
Yeah, I was like, when I first got sober, like, there was a big gap on my resume, right?
Yeah.
And like, my credit score literally said NA.
Didn't exist,
not
man.
available.
Wow.
Like, I was 25,
Well, that's crazy,
25 years old when I got sober, and it said not available. And so I was like, instead of getting overwhelmed with 25 years old and I have to start my life over and I got nothing, I was like, all right, what are the micros?
Yeah.
All right, take out a secured credit card, make the payments. Like, boom. Within a year, my credit shot up over 700.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Coming from nothing. And I just focused on the goals in front of my feet. How do I accomplish that? Once it's accomplished, what's the next goal? What do I keep doing over and over again?
So what's next for you, man? Like, so you obviously got some goals.
Yeah.
You have this drive, this ambition to like help other people, which I think is super admirable.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
what's your game? Like, what's the next 5 years look like?
So
for you, man.
If it wasn't for COVID, but
Seriously.
So I also own another company called No One Down Apparel.
Okay.
20% of everything we sell, it's a clothing company, 20% of everything we sell, we donate to get people into rehabs, treatment centers, pay
Dude,
for
I love
sober
it.
living.
Dude, there's this like purpose that's just underlying everything that you're doing.
Yeah. And we were about, I'm under a non-disclosure, so I can't really talk about it.
Sure.
We were about to shift into a huge new direction. We had investors lined up, we had everything. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So literally, and we weren't making any more clothing because we were like, all right, we have to stop that and pivot.
Yeah.
And so literally, we're not making any more clothing. The investors were like, we kind of have to, which I totally understand.
Everyone gets skittish, man.
Yeah. So to answer your question, my 5-year plan is for Sobriety Wellness Services. We are in contracts with a couple other nonprofits to help. There's one nonprofit called the Single Parent Project, which helps families, unprivileged kids, and we're gonna find a way to either get the kids the mental health, services they need and the families they need, so when the kids come back, they have a healthy structure to come home to. And then also we're looking to buy a couple sober livings for people, A, for people who can't afford them, and then B, for people who are more high end.
Got it.
So for people who don't like rehabs, they want to stay out of the limelight, they don't want anyone to know they're going to treatment.
Yeah.
We want to be able to structure a healthy plan for them, for their privacy, but also enough to where they can actually beat this thing.
That's amazing.
So I love that. Let me ask another question too. Like what, for somebody who, maybe they drink a little bit, right now.
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem yet.
Whether it is or not, I don't know.
Yeah, like what are like the red flags, warning signs that you would teach to anybody that drinks to be able to start being able to notice before they get too far?
It's kind of a loaded question, just because I'm under the way I approach it is, I don't care if you smoke crack. If you can smoke crack and you have a job and your family's good and you're not harming yourself, like
functional addict.
There you go. I've never met someone.
Does that exist? A functional addict?
Maybe it does. I've never met them.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you're drinking and you're not, and your life is happy, your family's happy, everyone's happy.
Harmony, right?
Because even then, like, I've known people who get DUIs and they're not necessarily an alcoholic or an addict.
Sure.
They drank and drove and they did something very illegal and very stupid.
Yeah.
But they took that experience and they were like, oh, I'm never doing it again. And they moved on with their life. The real alcoholic, quote unquote, real addict, is someone who gets a DUI and then they go right back to drinking.
Yeah.
That person has a problem.
Deal with that problem.
Yeah.
See, my problem wasn't drugs and alcohol. My problem was life.
Yeah.
Living life without drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
That was my problem. So, and that goes to sex addiction, workout addiction, eating disorders.
Yeah.
And that's where it all...
Get addicted to anything.
Work especially.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm trying to fix my problem with something that could potentially be a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Huh. So really, what I'm hearing is it's all about creating a fulfilling life, and because it sounds like the stem of all addictions is unfulfillment. It's like not being able to find what makes you tick, and so you switch to something that I guess pacifies you in the short term instead, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because, for instance, one time, one of the rehabs I went to, I got out, was doing great. I got a job.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I had an apartment. And then all of a sudden, life started to irritate me.
Grating on you.
Yeah, and then that tightness came back.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more than that. It's about, yes, creating the environment, but also, like, take, for instance, COVID. People have made these amazing environments, and the world essentially grinds to a halt.
Yeah.
What do? One of my guru buddies always says, there's going to be a time in your life, there's no friends to call, there's no work to go to, there's no beneficial books to read, there's no phone to even call someone who can help you work through your problem.
Yeah.
There's going to be a time in your life where the only tools you will ever have is your ability to pray and meditate. However prayer looks like to you. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Sure.
But you got to ask yourself, when that time comes, how sharp are those tools going to be?
Yeah.
Because for me, the only time I prayed back in the day was, please God, don't let these cops search my car. Please God, just get me out of this, and I'll never do it again. And then I would get out of it, and I go, whoo, I'm so good. That cop never knew what I was doing.
I pulled a quick one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then the other time was, if something bad would happen to me, I would blame God or whatever. And that just goes in a whole nother conversation.
He gets the short end of the stick, doesn't he?
He really does.
He gets beat up on any side.
But and again, like, I wish these things were a little bit longer, because I could talk for days, days about this stuff. But answering your question, it's really about being okay when you're not okay.
Yeah.
Cultivating that inner self to where, even when life, like for me, lost my car, lost my, my job, my health insurance, like everything bad that could happen to someone within a matter of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was able to center myself, because old me would have been like, all right, gotta sell crack. All right, we gotta start moving some weight here, doing some grimy stuff. But no, instead of that old pattern of thinking, I came back to, all right, in the moment of right now, the present moment, I have no problems. The moment where my feet are, my bills are paid, I have food in the refrigerator, I have a woman that loves me, I have friends that care and adore me.
Yeah.
In the moment of the present right now, I have an amazing life. And so that was able to calm me down and think strategically. And I just took that moment by moment, not freaking out, because that's where most mistakes happen.
Yeah.
How old are you?
25.
How old are you?
30-something.
Are you afraid of the boogeyman?
Nope.
You afraid of the boogeyman?
I am a little bit.
A little bit? So you're scared of a monster underneath your bed?
Yeah, theoretically. Yeah.
Theoretically, sure.
Sure.
That's what fear is.
Yeah.
Is being afraid of something that's not real, hasn't come to pass yet.
Yeah.
How many times have you made a decision based off fear or anger?
Oh man, I can tell you, any decision you make based off of those are the wrong decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, when I made a decision based on fear, anger, it never worked out.
Yeah.
It might have in a heartbeat, but in the end, it set me up for failure.
Sure.
So if I'm able to make decisions removing this fear and anger, I'm able to make a better decision, which leads also into day trading.
Yeah.
Never trade off a feeling.
Take the emotion out of it.
Yeah, because there's been times where I'm losing money on a stock and I become like a day bag holder, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, should I pull out a loss? And I just go back and I look at my charts, I look at my information, I look at all my homework, and I go, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Like from everything that I've seen, there's not a meteor hitting the earth.
Yeah.
There's not like a global famine going on. Like from everything that I've seen, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I look back an hour later, I get a notification, and boom,
Jumps back up.
Skyrocketed way over my.
Are you talking about Tesla right now?
I can't confirm nor deny. Actually, I've been looking in a lot of Bitcoin and digi trading, right?
Yeah.
There's been, so I'll give you a little one.
Yeah.
Ethereum 2 days ago was like $250.
Okay.
It shot up to $350.
That's crazy.
That's huge.
That's
Right?
like 30%.
Exactly, and it's hovered. It's cracked down. I haven't looked recently, but I think it's like 318 right now.
Yeah.
But there's a couple banks out there who are doing contracts with a couple different digital coin to make it like a new currency.
Yeah.
And if that happens, especially right now, we're in a cashless society basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, no coin, like no one's taking cash, and so that's along with a couple other things that I'm researching into. That's why I think digital coin is actually going to be a little bit more prevalent. Not like it was back in like 2015 and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
How cool, man. That's insane, man. I mean, your story is just so powerful. I think.
Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, whether you can relate to aspects or not, the thing that keeps coming to me is like, okay, you're grounded, you're in control, and you're thinking you got a good head on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And good decisions follow.
Yeah.
So,
everyone
super
deals
cool,
with
man.
fear.
Yeah.
Everyone. I don't care who you are. Everyone deals with that aspects of fear. And even if you have your life together, you don't. It's just a matter of how are we perceiving it? How are we dealing with it? What are we doing about it?
Yeah.
Because whether you have a drug addiction or not, the things that Sobriety Wellness Services do is teach people how to manage expectations, fear, anger, all these things that block us from making healthy decisions.
Are those critical skills you think everyone needs to have?
Yeah, of course they are.
So, tell our audience, like, how can they connect with you? Like, what does that look like, man?
So you can connect with me, SobrietyWellnessServices.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. My name is Ian Rader. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I think Instagram I'm known as Ian Rader Speaks. Who knows? I don't know.
Changes every other week.
Yeah, you know what? I'll even throw my phone number out there.
Sure.
My phone number is 805-319-5498. If you have anything you want to talk to me about or anything like that, I'm working. If any investors out there want to help start a sober living or anything like that, hit me up.
Love it, man.
Thanks so
Very
much.
cool,
Yeah,
dude.
this is
That was
awesome.
awesome, man.
This was
It's an
fun.
amazing story.
Appreciate your time.
One of the questions we get a lot from our subscribers is, where do you actually start? How do you actually begin to build a business? So we have decided to develop the 10-minute business challenge. Join our Facebook group and we'll show you exactly how it's done, and it's 100% for free for all of our subscribers.